So welcome to our College of Engineering and Applied Science Transition and Change of Major Information session. The purpose of today's session is to give you an overview of our transition and change of major criteria and processes, and to give you an opportunity to meet some advisors and students in your future majors, learn more about them, and start to build your network in the College of Engineering and Applied Science. Before we get any farther, I really just want to start by introducing myself. My name is Corinne Cook. I'm an Assistant Director of Advising in the College of Engineering and Applied Science, and I am one small piece of a giant contingency of people who are here to support our transition and change of major students. You see them all up on the board. We've got advisors here from the College of Engineering and Applied Science. We have folks here today from our Transfer and Transition Advising Center, Claremont, Blue Ash, exploratory studies. So all of that to say that you have a small army, honestly kind of mid-sized, a mid-sized army of advisors behind you who are planning programs like this one today, who are thinking about you and our decision making, who are excited to welcome you to our college, and who are advocating to make sure that CEAS is a welcoming place for you before and after you're accepted to the College of Engineering and Applied Science. A couple of housekeeping items before we get started. First things first, there is a QR code in the top right corner and a tiny URL link. I'm going to ask everybody to make sure that you sign in to say that you attended today. We will be following up with you after today's session to make sure that you have the links to the recordings, to share out some additional resources, and of course to get your feedback. You only need to fill out that attendance form once, so you can either scan the QR code or just type the link, tinyurl.com/CEAS-info-attend20. Vicki is going to go ahead and put that link in the chat box as well. It's a very brief form. We just want to get your information so we know you are here with us. That will also be on every slide, so if you miss it, don't worry, it's not going anywhere. We are asking during this session and the other ones today that you keep your microphones muted unless you're instructed otherwise. We just want to make sure that there are no sound disruptions and that we can guarantee a really great virtual experience for everyone. So please help us do that. If you have questions as I move through this opening presentation, please ask them in the main room chat. I want to warn you, I'm not going to stop. It doesn't mean I'm not going to answer your questions. It means that Vicki is going to be gathering them, organizing them, and when we come back to this main room at the end of the session, we're going to ask those questions and answer them for everybody. Okay, so I mentioned already, you're going to get an email from us. Look out for emails from CEAS Advising. I know it's easy to overlook emails when you're getting so many, but that's where we'll be following up with you after today. Okay, so this is our schedule. The schedule is available on the website and in your calendar invite, but we just want to make sure you're comfortable with the format of today's event. We're going to be in this overview until around 3:55. That's going to give you about 5 minutes to take a bio break, do whatever you need to do to move over to your first virtual breakout room. We're going to share the links here in a second, but know that you will have 25 minutes in there. And then we're going to give you a chance to go in to a second breakout session to learn about another set of majors. Finally, around 4:55, we're going to come back here and I'm going to hang out with you and answer your questions pretty much until we run out of them. These links are available in a couple of places, but if you think you might lose them, might not be able to find your way back to them, maybe go ahead and take a picture of this slide. These are the links that you're going to need to transition between rooms once we move into the breakout portion and then come back for the Q&A. Once we get to the end of the session, also be assured that Vicki is going to paste all of those links into the chat box so you can easily copy them into your browser window. Okay, we are ready to get into the meat and potatoes of this presentation. The first thing we are going to talk about is applying to CEAS majors. So really, what is the overarching process like? So we accept applicants in 3 cycles every year. So we accept applications during the fall semester for spring admission, during spring for summer admission, and then during summer for fall admission. When you're applying to a major, we're going to keep talking about this piece, but a good rule of thumb is that the criteria, so the minimum requirements for the major that you're applying to, must be either complete or in progress at the time of application. Again, we're going to keep talking about this piece, but essentially what it means is if your major requires calculus, you want to apply during the semester you're registered for calculus so that you can enter into the program in the next semester. We always, always, always recommend that you apply to an engineering major in your earliest eligible semester. So what this means is if your earliest eligible semester is summer, you're taking calculus during the spring, even if you do not want to take summer classes, we still want you to apply for summer 2021 admission if that's your earliest semester. If you kind of look over at this chart on the right, here's how I want you to think about this. You want to apply for summer because you would like to receive a decision in May. If you wait and apply till fall, that decision would be delayed until August. So again, if you're not taking summer classes, it's really irrelevant to the term you're applying to. We just want to make sure that you take every opportunity available and apply as early as you are eligible. We always hold applications until grades are posted for the current semester. So even if you're not taking classes, you're on co-op, we are going to hold all of our applications until grades are released for everybody who has applied. You can see our application deadlines are posted here, November 1st, March 1st, and July 1st. These are very firm application deadlines for the respective semesters. And then we also give you a general idea of when we try to release decisions, so you know when to expect to hear back from us. When you are ready to apply to a CAS major, you can find that application online. The initial application itself is very, very easy. It takes no more than 2 to 3 minutes to complete. All that application is going to ask for is your name, some demographic information like your address, your major ranking, so the majors you want to apply to, and then like if you've ever been arrested, and if you have, don't worry, we're not going to hold it against you. It's just built into the application. So on that application, you're going to have the chance to apply to up to 3 majors in rank order. We'll talk about those at the tail end of my presentation, but know that that is a big part of the application strategy for students who are applying to engineering. Something I want to make sure you are aware of is even though that application is really quick, really short, you're going to get it in by the deadline, we might be reaching out to you to gather some additional information after the application deadline passes. So within 2 weeks after the application deadline, so if you're applying this semester, the deadline is November 1st, that means by November 14th, you're going to receive an email from our CEAS advising account asking you to complete something called the CEAS Transition Applicant Scan. Essentially, this is a survey that allows us to find out 2 very important pieces of information about your application. First, it is your chance to confirm your application details and make sure that we have all the right information on file so that there wasn't a data entry error and we put the wrong major as your top choice, to make sure that all of your transfer credit is coming through in our report so that we can consider it for your application. So it's really, really important that you're keeping an eye out for this scan so that you can make sure that all the information in there is correct. Something else that we use this for is to gather information for our majors that require a holistic review. Again, we'll talk about this a bit later, but some majors might ask you to submit a statement of interest, why you're interested in their program. They might want a resume or some more information about your leadership and community experiences during your time at UC. So it's really important that you make a mental note that you're going to receive this, and it is crucial that you fill it out, especially if you're applying to the majors that offer holistic review. If you are someone who falls into that category right below the GPA criteria, this is what we're going to use to decide if we want to move forward with accepting your application. So go ahead, close your eyes, imagine yourself in late December, May, July, and I want you to imagine getting accepted to the College of Engineering and Applied Science. We want to kind of give you a sense of what happens after that moment. We try to get out our decisions within 2 days after grades are due. So again, that whole contingency of people I showed you, we work really, really hard to turn around decisions quickly so that you can rest easy and know that you've been accepted to your top choice major. There are some things that could delay that decision past that 2-day timeline. For example, if we are considering you under the holistic review criteria. Once you are accepted, you'll get the acceptance letter from our central account. And then soon after, you'll get another email from your new CAS advisor. And what happens at that time is they help you get your schedule all situated for the next semester. So sometimes students get pretty nervous when they start to see classes fill up. They worry they're not going to be able to get in the departmental courses for their major. And what I just want to assure you is that that team of people I showed you, they are amazing. They every semester get all of our transition and changes major students into the appropriate classes. And I promise you, they will walk you through that process once you're officially accepted to the college. Now, your actual major in Catalyst, that'll take a couple of weeks to update. It's because it's a manual process that someone on our team has to walk through on the back end. So just know that once that happens, you'll also be officially assigned to your new, yes, Abdullah, your new advisor in Catalyst and Starfish. Once you're accepted, we will make sure you meet with your new advisor just to make sure that you feel really welcome and comfortable and clear about your plan moving forward in CEAS. All right, so that's kind of the broad view of the application process. Now let's talk about the criteria, what we're actually going to be looking at when we review applications to determine whether or not we're going to accept your application. So the first thing I want you to know, the most important thing I want you to take away is where to find your criteria, information about how to learn more, ways for you to FAQs, more about the math science GPA, everything you would possibly need to know about this process is located on our transfer, change of major, transition, and readmission students website. So this is the landing page, and I really encourage you to bookmark this. I'm going to drop it in the chat box just to make sure that you always know where to find information about the criteria, where to apply, and how to learn more. So you can see over here on this page, the first thing you're going to have to do is select what type of student you are to access your criteria and application. So it is really, really important for everybody here to understand which of these categories you fall into. The website is designed to make this very, very easy. So you can open this up and read the description so you can be really, really sure which category you fall into. So change of college students, those would be current UC students, including Claremont and Blue Ash, who are not currently in the College of Engineering and Applied Science. If that sounds like you would review the change of college criteria, apply here, and then you can click this button to schedule a meeting with me to learn more about our process. In today's session, we also have change of major students. So these are students who are currently in an engineering major. You're a chemical engineer, you're an electrical engineer, and you are trying to switch to another engineering program in our college. You are what we refer to as a change of major student. And then a subset of those change of major students are students in the freshman engineering program. Students in FEP are first years who have been directly admitted to the College of Engineering and Applied Science, and they have up to 3 semesters to transition into a major. You know who you are. I'm your assigned advisor. We've met, and you should be pretty familiar with these criteria. So whichever of these categories you come into, you're going to enter the website and click the criteria button to learn more about what is required for you. So there are some overarching criteria that are true for every population, that are true for every major. So those overarching criteria are first, application considerations. So these vary a little bit by major, but in general, this is either a semester or credit hour requirement. We'll talk about those here soon. After that, every major is going to have a set of minimum required courses that you must pass to successfully transition into their program. From there, we look at 2 different GPAs. First, your overall UC GPA in Catalyst. And then we also look at a funneled down version of your GPA that we call your math science GPA to make sure that you are performing well in those courses too. Finally, if the majors you're applying to offer a holistic review, we will consider you based on the criteria the faculty in those programs have set. So I mentioned those application considerations. I said that they were a little bit different for everybody. So I want to take a minute and talk about what those differences are. I want you to go ahead and find yourself on this list: FEP, change of major, change of college, and I want to talk you through some of these differences. So FEP students, you must spend one full semester in FEP. So even if you're meeting all of the other criteria on the next slides, you have to stay in FEP for at least the fall semester and then transition in the spring. The thing that makes the FEP program unique is that these students have guaranteed admission to CEIS majors. So if you're an FEP student, you apply to one of the majors and you meet the criteria listed on your criteria page, then you are guaranteed acceptance to that program. For our change of major and our change of college students, we want to make sure that you all understand that meeting the minimum requirements on your criteria pages does not guarantee admission. So there are circumstances where change of major and change of college students are above the listed criteria, but are denied based on other considerations in the department like program capacity. One other thing to note for our change of college students, so remember, those are the students who are outside of CEIS, maybe exploratory, chemistry, CCM, UC Blue Ash, and you are applying to one of our engineering majors. We also require you to have 24 UC credit hours complete by the time we review your application. So it's really important to note that those 24 UC credit hours do not include AP or transfer credit. We're specifically looking for you to complete 24 credit hours at the University of Cincinnati. Something that is true for everybody here is that there are some other factors that are considered. One of the big ones is academic misconduct. So if you are a student who has multiple academic misconduct strikes, if there's been some kind of egregious action in some of your courses, this alone could be cause to deny your application. So please be mindful of that. We really value academic integrity in our college. Something everybody needs to understand, and this is a very, very firm rule for the College of Engineering and Applied Science, is that your transition plan, so the classes that you take, the timeline to your co-op and graduation, so the first semester you get to co-op, and whether or not you are a member of the class of 2024, 2025, 2026, none of that is set in stone until you are officially accepted to the program and you meet one-on-one with your new advisor in CEIS. At that time, you will go through your curriculum for the next up to 5 years and make sure that you're all on the same page about what the next few semesters look like for you. After the application considerations, we have those minimum required courses. So again, these are a set of minimum courses every major has determined are necessary for you to be accepted. In general, these are math and science courses. Programs are looking for you to demonstrate that you can be successful in our rigorous math and science curriculum in engineering. Something else we, again, want to reiterate is that you can be enrolled in the minimum required courses at the time of application. So I have a scenario here just to make sure you really understand what this means. If you're applying to mechanical engineering, which requires Calculus 1 and either chemistry or physics, and you are enrolled in Calculus 1 and chemistry during the spring semester, you will be applying by March 1st for summer admission. And remember, even if you're not taking summer classes in this scenario, you would apply as early as you're eligible. Next up, we have that overall UC GPA. This one is really straightforward. This is the GPA that is listed in Catalyst at the time that we review your applications. What that really means for you is that only UC courses are factored into your overall UC GPA. So if you're someone who transferred to UC, if you have dual enrollment credit, know that those will not have any impact at all on this overall UC GPA. For students who are grade replacing courses, if you don't know what I mean, that's okay. Maybe you'll never need to know. But grade replacing refers to when a student is taking a class for the second time to earn a better grade than they did the first time. So if you're a student who is grade replacing a course during the semester you're applying to us, just know that there's a place for you to indicate that on your transition applicant scan so that we can factor it into our decision making. Okay, we've talked about the application considerations, the minimum required courses, the overall UC GPA, which brings us to the math science GPA. What I want you to know about this is that we have an entire website to help you understand it because it can be a little bit complicated. So I'm going to go ahead and talk us through this website so that you have a basic understanding of what this number really means. So your math and science GPA is the cumulative average GPA in any math and science courses that are required for the majors to which you are applying. So that means we're looking at the curriculum for each of the majors, looking at what math and science classes they take, and those are the ones that make up your math and science GPA for the programs that you are applying to. What really, really makes the math and science GPA unique that we want our applicants to understand is that unlike the overall UC GPA, this one will actually consider your transfer credit, your transfer grades, and any test credit like AP. So this one is a little bit more far-reaching. So if you are a student who, again, transferred, has dual enrollment credit, you're going to want to make sure you understand how these are being factored into your math science GPA for the major that you're applying to. Something we work really, really hard to do with this math science GPA is make sure that we are calculating it to your advantage. So we know that sometimes our students retake courses to earn higher grades, and we want to encourage you to do that, to build a solid foundation and really improve your chances of being successful in engineering. So what we want you to know is that if you do take the same class twice, let's say that you took calculus in high school as a dual enrollment student at Sinclair, you earned an A. Then you came to UC and decided to retake the course so that you could get used to it at the college level, build a solid foundation, and you got a worst grade. For this particular GPA, just for your math science GPA, we're actually going to take the best attempt and factor your A in there. We scroll down, you can start to see the classes that are required for every major. So this should make it pretty easy for you to look over the courses and calculate your own math science GPA to understand where you are. Something I want to make sure you all know is that if you're someone who has a lot of transfer credit, you're taking equivalent courses, like you're a physics student taking physics for physics majors, or you're just not sure if you're calculating your GPA correctly, please come talk to your advisor, email CAS Advising. We can help you run through this calculation to make sure you know exactly where you sit. We also have a calculator that does this for you. So we built a calculator that will allow you to select the courses that you've taken, plug in your grades, and then it will automatically calculate your GPA, your math science GPA for all 11 majors that require that number. So there is a link here down at the bottom. Give it a second to not be blocked by my mouse. Okay, so tinyurl.com/CAS Math Science 2021. I will also be sending this out to folks who complete the attendance link after today, so you have easy access to it. But just know that if this math science GPA seems a little intimidating, this calculator really simplifies the process. All right, which brings us to holistic review. You will see on the criteria pages that some of our majors do offer what is called a holistic review. What that means is that majors are willing to sometimes consider applicants who fall just below the GPA criteria that are listed. So here's how we want you to think about this. We know that really, really great students sometimes fall just below the application criteria. So we really want to encourage you, one, even if you think you're going to fall below the criteria for a major, apply to it. Throw your hat in the ring and don't lose out on a chance that you could have had because you didn't try. Secondly, we've said that you can apply to 3 majors in rank order. We also really want to encourage you to utilize those major rankings to apply to some of our more competitive majors and maybe list some less competitive ones as a second or third choice, so you're not risking your opportunity to be accepted at some point in your application timeline. All right, we've got technically 1 minute left, so I'm going to really quickly tell you about some of the strategies that we recommend to improve your chances of being admitted to a program. Again, use these application rankings because we're going to admit you to the highest program to which you are eligible. So if you apply to mechanical first choice, electrical second choice, and your GPA falls right in between those, we're going to go ahead and admit you to your second choice major so that you can start in CEAS in the following semester. Kind of similarly, if your first choice is mechanical, your second choice is electrical, you get a 3.8 this semester. We'll automatically place you into your top choice major. Well, not automatically. If you meet the criteria and the department agrees, we'll place you into your top choice major based on those rankings. What this means is that we want you to think about your rankings, that the rest of today's session is set up to really help you identify what we call a parallel plan so that you can think of a major that would make really good sense for you to list as a second or a third choice on your application. Here's what we know and we want to share with you is that engineers have extremely high career mobility, meaning that they can work in a variety of industries and roles regardless of kind of which specific degree that they chose. There's some real common threads across all of our degrees. You are people who know how to improve products and processes. You are great project managers. You know how to systemize safety and lean practices. And these are things that translate across many industries. So please just understand, you do not have to be an aerospace engineer to work in the aerospace industry. In fact, I would say more than 75% of our majors work on interdisciplinary teams to make that industry a reality. Also, keep in mind that many engineers go into some non-traditional pathways like consulting, technical sales, law. So we really want to encourage you to take a more broad approach to thinking about what is possible with an engineering degree. To make this a little bit easier for you, we have this CEAS Parallel Planning Guide, and we hope that you use this to think about which 2 breakout sessions you should go to today. This is another resource. We'll send it out after today's meeting, but here's kind of how we want you to use this. The first column shows you other majors in the same cluster because we know that they have a lot of similarities and students float between them based on their interest. We also recommend some different CAS majors and other clusters. This is nowhere near an exhaustive list, but it's an example of some project and academic areas that stretch across multiple disciplines. We also have some other suggestions if you're pretty far along in your curriculum or one day CAS doesn't work out. So please keep this handy. We believe that having a backup plan is not a lack of faith, it is wisdom. And we want to make sure that we do everything in our power to help you become an engineer. If you want to learn more, you can go to the FAQ page of our website. We've got a couple of links and resources for you there. I also want to make sure that you sign up for our Engineer Your Major conference that's taking place in 2 weeks. This is an all-day conference. At any given time during the day, there's going to be 4 to 5 sessions running where you're going to get to connect with faculty, alumni, students, and industry partners from throughout Cincinnati to learn more about our degrees. All right, it is time for the cluster breakouts. It is 3:58, which means that you have 2 minutes to click the link and move into the next breakout room. I'm going to go ahead and drop these breakout links in the chat box. As a reminder, oh, Vicky's got them coming. She is amazing. So as a reminder, you are going to be clicking on the link for the breakout session that you would like to attend. You will go into that session for the next 25 minutes. We will have another 5-minute break where you'll move into the second breakout. And then we're going to come back together in here at 4:55 for Q&A, where I'm going to answer the questions that have been coming in the chat box and that Vicki has been gathering for us now. So go ahead, leave this room. You'll come back to us later and move on into your breakout rooms. The links, if you need them, are up in the chat box. And as a reminder, if you are only able to attend a part of today's session, that's all right. We're going to upload these recordings later on. You'll be able to find them on the website. And if you fill out the attendance link, we will send them to you today. So go ahead, get into your next rooms. Some of you will see back here later. To the rest of you, thank you for coming.